In a stunning and coordinated reversal that signals the final collapse of the Western consensus on the Ukraine war, major mainstream media outlets have begun to publish stark and deeply pessimistic accounts of a rapidly deteriorating situation for Kyiv. Influential newspaper and broadcasters, which for years had championed the narrative of Ukrainian resilience and ultimate victories, are now painting a grim picture of a nation on the verge of total military and societal collapse. This dramatic shift in coverage away from stories of heroism and toward a brutal accounting of catastrophic losses, ammunition shortage, and a failing state reflects the undeniable reality created by recent events. The failure of advanced Western air defenses, the fracturing of European political unity, and the pivot of American policy under the Trump administration. The information dam has broken, and the flood of grim news is now shaping a new public understanding that the war effort is no longer sustainable. A series of devastating front-page articles in some of America's most respected newspapers has led this change. One prominent publication, in a lengthy dispatch from the Eastern Front, detailed the concept of shell hunger with gut-wrenching clarity. The report described Ukrainian artillery crews who were limited to firing just a handful of shells per day, while Russian positions just a few kilometers away unleashed a relentless, unending barrage. The article interviewed exhausted and demoralized soldiers who described feeling like they were being asked to fight a modern war with the resource of a past century. They spoke of watching Russian armored columns advance with near impunity because they lacked the artillery or anti-tank missile to stop them. The report contrasted the situation now with the early phases of the war, noting that the steady and reliable flow of Western munitions has slowed to a trickle, a direct consequence of depleted Western stockpiles and a shift in political will among key allies. Another major news network aired a special primetime report that focused on the catastrophic manpower crisis facing Ukraine. The broadcast featured undercover footage from major cities like Odessa and Kharkiv, showing military conscription officers aggressively detaining men on public street and forcing them into service. The report interviewed Ukrainian women who had lost their husband, sons, and brothers to the war, telling stories of entire villages that had no military-aged men left. Military analysts interviewed for the segment spoke in blunt terms that would have been unthinkable on mainstream television just a few months ago. They explained that Ukraine, with a pre-war population of less than 40 million, is losing soldiers at a rate that is demographically unsustainable against a Russian nation more than 3 times its size. The analysts concluded that without a full and direct intervention by Nato ground troops, an option no Western leader is willing to consider, Ukraine simply does not have the human resource to continue the fight. The economic and social fabric of the country is also being described as tearing apart. A respected international financial journal published an in-depth analysis of the Ukrainian state's finances, concluding that the country is effectively bankrupt. The report detailed how the government is no longer able to consistently pay pensions to its elderly citizens or the salary of essential public workers like teachers and doctors. It described a national infrastructure from power grids to water treatment plants that is crumbling from repeated attack and a lack of funds for basic repair. The article made a direct link between this internal collapse and the growing economic turmoil within the European Union. The promised billions in European financial aid, which were meant to keep the Ukrainian state afloat, are not materializing at the required pace because EU nations are now prioritizing their own domestic economic crisis. The report concluded that Ukraine is now a failed state in all but name, entirely dependent on a lifeline of foreign aid that is being progressively choked off. This abrupt turn toward realism in the media has not gone unnoticed by the United States government. The Trump administration, which has been deeply skeptical of the Ukraine strategy it inherited, view the new reporting as a powerful vindication of its policies. President Donald Trump has seized on the shift in coverage, frequently citing the new articles in his public statement and on social media. For years, the fake news media lied to the American people. He stated at a recent rally, "They told you Ukraine was winning. I told you the truth, that it was a terrible, wasteful war that was draining America dry." Now, finally, everyone is admitting that Trump was right. They are collapsing, and we are not going to send another dime. We are going to end this war and bring our focus back home to America. This position has been echoed throughout the administration, with cabinet members using the new public information to justify their policy shift. Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem issued a formal department-wide alert regarding the potential for a new and massive refugee crisis emanating from a collapsing Ukraine. The ongoing disintegration of the Ukraine state, as now widely reported, presents a potential national security challenge for the United States and our partners. Her statement read, "We must be prepared for a humanitarian wave that could destabilize the European continent further and could have downstream effects on migration patterns globally. My department is proactively developing contingency plans to ensure the integrity of our own borders in the face of this emerging crisis." This preemptive framing of the situation as a future border security issue for the United States further served to distance the administration from any responsibility for the outcome in Ukraine. The intelligence community has also formally adjusted its public posture to align with the new reality. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard presented a declassified assessment to a congressional committee that largely confirmed the grim media reports. In a calm and measured tone, Gabbard outlined the intelligence community's finding. Our analysis, based on a wide range of sources, indicate a severe and likely irreversible degradation of Ukrainian military combat effectiveness, he stated. We assess that Ukraine's logistical chains are near a breaking point. The ammunition stockpiles for key systems are critically low, and their ability to generate and field new combat-ready formations is exhausted. By providing this official stamp of verification, the intelligence community has effectively closed the door on any lingering hopes that the situation could be salvaged. It provides the administrations with the factual basis needed to justify its complete withdrawal of support. Adding another layer to the administration's response, Attorney General Pam Bondi announced that the Department of Justice was opening a formal inquiry into the distribution of past American aid to Ukraine. Citing the media reports of state collapse and widespread dysfunction, Bondi stated that there were serious questions that must be answered about where the tens of billions of American taxpayer dollars have gone. He announced the formation of a special task force to investigate potential waste, fraud, and corruption related to the aid package sent by the previous administration. This move served a dual purpose. It further solidified the narrative that the entire Ukraine project was a mismanaged failure, and it appeals directly to President Trump's political base, which has long been skeptical of foreign aid and eager to see investigation into the action of past officials. The cumulative effect of this new information environment is a profound sense of gloom and resignation in the European capitals that have remained committed to the fight. For leaders in places like Warsaw and the Baltic capitals, the media's admission of collapse feels like a death sentence for Ukraine and a grave threat to their own security. They watch in horror as the American media landscape, once a source of powerful support, now reflects and reinforces the isolationist policies of the Trump administration. They are being forced to confront a terrible new reality. The information war has been lost, and with it, the political will in the West to sustain the fight has evaporated. The collapse of Ukraine is no longer a possibility to be averted. It is now being reported as an ongoing event, and the world is simply watching it happen. The conversation is no longer about how to help Ukraine win, but about how to manage the consequence of its defeat. Many of my listeners, like 70%, haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel. And so many of you don't even know that you haven't subscribed. And that is actually what makes the show going. It's almost like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask again and again, because it enables us to grow and grow and grow. And we're going for the long haul here. And listen, if this is your first time listening to Self-Hate Rich, you don't have to subscribe. You guys, your first one's on me. But if you have watched this show before, it's like you are freeloader now. So all I would ask you is, if you have seen this show before and you like it, help me, help my team here. Hit that subscribe and like button now, and we will continue to build this show for you. That I swear. Thank you to all of you guys who have subscribed. It means a lot to me. Thank you so much. That's all for me for today, but we'll see you soon. Bye for now.